Hello friends, in this video we are going to understand how we can use React API context in your project, right? So if you are using a React project, so you must have the requirement, you may have encountered the requirement of using that context API into your React application to overcome the problem of prop drilling, right? So for example, we have these nested elements, and within an app bar we have child 1, and within this child A we have child B, and you want to pass some props from here to here. Okay, to solve this, instead of passing props to each level, we do use context API, right? So to use that constant API, we sorry create context API, we just have to use this create context, which is provided by React itself, right? So now let's understand how we can use this. So to use this, let's say we have this counter, and within this I am just going to create two more components. So one I had named comp a.jsx. Okay, I had just mistakenly placed C here, and I'm just copy paste this one, and instead of naming it A, I am just going to change it to B, right? So let's create RFCE, and now okay, I'm not want to create an RFC tag, but RFC snippet. So this is our comp A and this is component B. So RFCE, and here we had created our two components, right? And now what I am going to do, I am just going to import this component B in A, and then finally it into B, A into this counter, and this counter is being imported in here in app.js, right? And what I'm just trying to do, I'm just try to use this context API and passes something from this level to this level. Okay, so let's do this. First import comp A, comp B, import comp B here, right? And here I'm using this comp B component, and now I'm going to use this comp A into my counter. So let's import this, and finally use it here. So let's comment all this for now, and just simply I'm going to use this here, comp A, and within this comp B, as you can see, this should be rendered on our screen if I just start my server. So let's start my server first, npm run start. Now if I can go to my localhost 3000, as it is opening here, sometimes it takes a little bit of time, right? So here we have that comp B, which is rendered from this comp B, which is the child of component A. Component A is the child of counter, and counter is the child of app, right? So now let's try to pass something from this level to this level, but without using props. Okay, so we can do this by using this context API. So to use this context API, we just have to firstly import this in the parent component. So import context API from React. So I'm just going to import it here in app.js. So let's import this. Next we have to create a context. Okay, so let's create a context. So I'm just naming it context, right? And here I am calling this context like this, right? So next is this, and now whatever you pass here, for example, I am just passing a string, right? So this is the initial or the default value that I am passing by this context. Okay, so let's to use this context, I have to I have to make a component, okay, and tag opening and closing tag of context dot provider, right? And here I can use a term value, right? Within this value I can pass anything, and whatever I will pass here will be overridden by this, right? So for example, let's create something here. Let's create an object here, const obj, and within this obj I am taking two things, first name and last name. First name, so here my name is Vikas, and last name, which is Singh. So let's try to pass this object and try to render this object within my component B, right? So here I had just passes these object with that context. Okay, and now to use this context value in my this component B, I just have to use another hook which is provided by React itself, and which is use context. Okay, so I'm just imported that use context from here, and finally to use this context. Okay, so use this context, I have to also export this. So let's first export this context from here, and now I can import this context right here, right? So let's import this context here, import context from my app, right? And now I can use context and get the data. So let's say obj equals to use context, and within this use context I am passing like of which value I am trying to access here, right? So I am trying to access this context value here. Okay, and now as you can see, this use context hook cannot be called at the top level, right? So I have to use this within here. Okay, and now if I just go and console this obj, I should get the name, I should get the data that I had passed from here. Okay, this obj first name and last name. So let's see and check within my console if this is present in the console or not. So let's refresh this, and now as you can see, we do not have these values. Okay, so we do not have these values. So what wrong we had done here? So here we had create a context, we finally export this, and after exporting this, for example, let's say this is in create, this is the parent component, and within this parent component we had provided this the same as we had done there, and to consume this we do use context, right? And at the same time we had imported that my context from there, and to use this we have just use this like use context and passes the context which we had created there within this use context, right? And finally we had destructure this, right? So maybe but I don't think that should be the reason. So let's also do this within this component B. I am just going to destructure this, right? So let's destructure this with a f name and l name. So let's say f name and l name. I think I just write in the same two keywords here. So let's see here. So I had just used name and phone number. No, not name and phone number, but f name and l name, right? So we had passes this object here, right? So within here I'm just going to console these two terms. Let's see what we are getting. So let's save this, go to my red component, and once again try to use this. Okay, so now you can see that we do not have anything here within first name and last name because we are getting undefined. Okay, so probably this is because we had not restarted our server. So let's restart this and try to access, try to see once more its behavior. So now if I can go to the console, we have this f name and l name, but its value is undefined, right? Okay, so this should not be the property, this should not the behavior that we are expecting from this context provider. But okay, so the difference is so this is because I had forgot to wrap this my whole element within this context. Okay, so that's why we are not getting the value. Now if I just go to this and see, here we have this f name and l name value within my component. Okay, and at the same time I can also display these names, display the name properties in my component. So let's also display this one. So let's say I just want to display hello Vikas, first name and last name with the concatenation and giving a little space between these two words. And let's save this and let's go to my UI, and here we should be render a name that is Vikas Singh. Okay, so that's why we had just passes some information from this app.a to this b, which is nested at very deep level, right? But still we are able to get the value without using that props function, okay, without that prop dealing, right? So that's how you can use UseContext and context API into your application, React application. So for now, let's meet you in our next video. Till then, have a nice day and goodbye.